welcome to the final episode of season 1 of the Go-To Physio show. Coming up on today's show, I show you step-by-step way to easily strap an ankle that I've used in professional sport for over 10 years. And we also share with you some strategies that you can use in real life to help your patients make a successful comeback so that you can become that go-to therapist. In addition, we also talk to Carl Morris about the key facets that you have to help coach your patient to really build that confidence, so when you send them back into the real world, they've got both mental and physical resilience. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to the last episode of season 1 of the Go-To Physio show, and we're going to finish this one a bit lighthearted with the one thing that physios seem to get really excited about for some reason, and that's strapping the ankle. So in the past 2 episodes we've covered some of the key performance indicators for the ankle joint. We've then gone through some of the specific steps for a return to play, and now we're going to go through some strapping for when that athlete's actually getting back on the field and they may want that little bit of support. Okay, so as we're going to see later in the show, the literature is, it's a bit wishy-washy with strapping. I don't put too much attention on it. If I've done my job well, okay, with the constraint-based approach and that progressive pathway, then, by the time that athlete's back playing anyway, they're ready to go. So the strapping's, it's just a tick the box for me and for the athlete. So there is a few things. I was horrible at strapping, and I remember Danny Baderis, who's an Australian ex-rugby league player, and he came to the Rhinos, and I remember when I was first starting out, you could see it almost threw him, at one game, and there was a little crease in the strapping, and I could see him in the corner, the dressing room, and then he asked me to redo it again. He missed and said it's just a little bit tight. So some athletes are so obsessed about strapping, some don't really care. So, but it's good to be able to nail an ankle strapping, and if it looks neat, then great, all the better. Okay, but as I said, I've seen some bad ones in my time, and I've executed some bad hands up strapping, I'll admit that as well. So big thing with the ankle, this is how I do it. There's more than one way, just like the whole Go-To Physio show episode 1, there's more ways than one to get to that outcome, but I'll show you how I was taught, and then through working with other therapists, I picked up little bits here and there, and I might do little bits extra. But for the generic ankle strapping that most athletes are happy with is just your 3 stirrups and then your 2 heel locks. Now you can double up the heel a little bit more, and then if you want a little bit extra, we can do a figure of 6. But to be fair, the 3 stirrups and the heel locks, that's what I was taught from my mentors, and it's the one that I routinely will go to now just to tick the box with the ankle strapping. Okay, anyone who says that you have to be this specific and you have to do this and this and put so much emphasis on strapping, just take a step back, and be aware of that. Okay, because as I said, look, it's a little bit wishy-washy. Affects anything. Okay, and the big thing for me is I actually want the athlete to be able to get to a game and almost not want shopping in the first place. And if he's at that point, then I've done my job in really building confidence in the athlete themselves. And as I said, some athletes, they just do it routinely for games anyway, and I tend not to mess with their heads too much in a game. So the key thing here, the first thing that you can mess up on, is we look at the contour of the ankle joint. So if you start straight here, you're probably going to get a wrinkle, okay, if we go across, and I kind of naturally get it to not wrinkle now, so I'll have to try to do it. So if you see here, if we just come around here, and you can see that you're probably going to get some kind of wrinkle here if we go straight across. Okay, so what you want to do is you just want to do it. Okay, I bet you wish you shaved your legs today, Pete. So if you start down at a slight angle and you can get the contour. Now, the big thing here and the biggest tip I have for you is that this tape will actually bend a little bit. Okay, so as you come across, don't be afraid to angle the tape to fit the contour of the bone. And everyone's got different kind of structures, shapes there. Okay, I was going to say structures, but I don't know if that's the right term. Okay, so you can see here, if I go across here, I'll get that flap. Whereas if I just angle the tape there, it takes it away and it just makes it look a little bit neater. Okay, you can finish there, or I can cause pain a little bit of pain, and I can cover that little bit if I want. Okay, I can do it that way, Okay, and I'll do a few different ones here. You know, but usually if I'm doing it real quick, I'll start there. Okay, I'll do 2 there, and then usually that's kind of my anchor there. Okay, you obviously just want to give a bit of room here. Some people like it a little bit higher. I'll usually start about there, but that little angle and that little tweak of the tape, it makes a big difference with the creases. Okay, then I'll start here, more medial, and then I'm not going to put too much pressure. The big thing obviously is you just want to watch that cue ball, because that cue ball wants to move when you're running. Okay, so we don't want to be putting the tape over that, or will I get the athlete. Then I might put a little bit of pressure here. Okay, a little bit of pressure, and then that's all I'm going to do there. Okay, so that's my first stirrup. Then I'll go medial. To that, I might cover that half. Okay, and then I'm just going to come through here. And again, don't be afraid. You can. Okay, and then that's all I'm going to do there. Okay, next one, I'm going to go inside that again. Okay, you're going to angle it there, and then it's coming around the back of the actual malleolus. Okay, so you can do that. Then I'm going to start here for my heel lock. Okay, so we've got 3 there. You can see it's okay, not too bad at, even under pressure with a camera. Then I'm going to start here, okay, for my heel lock. So I'm going to start at the top of the tape again. I'm going to come round the Achilles, and this is where now your actual angle is going to be pretty important to bend that tape. Okay, and I'm struggling to do it slow here. So I'll have to almost do it fast to get the alignment. I'm not used to doing it slow. Okay, so you can see here I've got a little bit of a crease, but I think I've come up a little bit too high anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit lower with that. Okay, so by the time then I get the hair, that's a much better heel lock. Okay, so you can see I just went up a little bit high there. Okay, if I did go a little bit high, just go back again and come down again, and you can see the tape is just coming across here. Okay, and it's naturally going to flow. Okay, and then we're getting to here, and you finish kind of where you started from. Okay, so as I said, I'm struggling a little bit to do this slow, but I'm going to try my best there again to help you. Okay, so we're going to start here this time. You're going to come behind, so you can see the malleolus is here. Okay, we're going to come through, and then we're just going to wrap it through. Okay, and then as he gets the hair, that's then the time where I might just want to hold it there. Okay, some athletes, they don't like pressure here, so they may say go light, then you'll hold the hair, and then you can start to apply your pressure as it comes round. Okay, so some athletes, they may be happy with that. Okay, I'm not too happy with that neatness. Okay, in all honesty, I think this motor control is off a little bit, and they might just say, okay, that's fine there. Okay, some athletes then they may want what's called a full boot. So you're going to start here again. You want to be very careful going over that deltoid. Okay, so again, there's no pressure. I'm just literally putting tape there for the sake of it. Okay, and then I'll finish here. I'll put one here. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is close that off. Okay, and then that would be pretty much my ankle strapping for this athlete. Okay, if they want overwrap, then we can do that. Then usually what I like to do is I like to come in here, and I just like to squeeze it to get all the glue to kind of sit into the contours. Okay, so it doesn't look too bad. If you pop up, okay, a little bit loose there maybe, and then I'll put overwrap on him here. Okay, so I'll usually start here. You can start up there. It's completely up to you. This is just the way my mentors taught me. I'm just going to follow the ankle wrap up. Okay, I'm going to do 2 heel locks here. Okay. Okay, and again, I'm not too bothered if there's a little bit sticking out. Some physios maybe. Okay, but again, you can catch it on the way up. Okay, and then I'll usually just finish them here. Now that's only if they want overwrap. Some athletes will just want the brown tape. Okay, and I'll just close it off there with the brown, and he's good to go. So even if you make a balls of it with the brown with a few stuff like that, don't worry about it if they're having overwrap. Okay, so we're just going to do a full one now just to show you. Okay, now in kind of real time. So just keep your foot dorsiflex Pete. So that'll just keep the tension on it. It'll stop us messing things a little bit. And he's got almost like a pocket of fluid here, which is quite interesting from your ankle. Were you playing football last night? You know, the fluid there. Okay, so we're just going to go through that again. Even if you do get a few creases, it's okay, because if you're doing a full boot, this is what my mentor you says, you can always kind of cover it up once the outer layers are a little bit more neater. Okay, we're just going to go here, going to heel lock. Okay, and just make sure I miss the cuboid. Finish over here. Okay, I'm just going to heel lock. Okay, just get to make sure not creasing. So you can see there's a little bit of loose tape here now, but you'll catch that with that heel lock nicely. So now we've kind of reinforced that nicely. Okay, I'm just going to start here. We're going to go over to there, and then I'll finish it with that one there. Again, I'm left-handed, so how I tear the tape might be slightly different to how you do it. And this is just the way that I figured it out. Okay, and then that's it. So if you pop this one up again, Pete, now that's just your standard ankle tape. The last one, again, a few creases, I'm not doing myself justice here. The last want to put in is a figure of 6. Okay, so that's where you want a real reinforcement of the lateral ankle, so you don't want it to go that way. So what you'll do is you'll start here. Okay, you'll come across the medial joint line, or sorry, the medial foot, and then you torque from here. Okay, so we want that calcaneus to stop going that way. So that's where I'll put my pressure. So I only really apply my pressure here. So I just follow the contour of the foot, then I apply my pressure here, and then usually what I'll do is I'll just bang it in like that. So that'll be your figure of 6. That's going to stop the ankle from inverting. Okay, so again, there's not much happening here, and again, notice I'm really torquing or twisting the tape here to hit the contour, so I don't get too much of a crease. Okay, now I just like to fill it in like that. Okay, so you can see that figure of 6 is going to stop that ankle. That's not moving too much now. Okay, so I'll just do one more for you. Okay, some athletes, they like a figure of 6 on both sides. Okay, so what I will do usually with that, just the way my hands are, is I'll actually start here with that one. Okay, so again, you just need to end up here. So because I'm left-handed, that kind of suits me better, and then I'll torque the tape here. Okay, and then you're obviously just finishing on the inside. Okay, but as I said, most of them, you might, if you're stopping a lateral ankle, you might just do the figure of 6. Okay, so start where you're going to finish, twist your tape round. Okay, so that it kind of comes towards the contours. Keep it long, and again, even if you look like you're going to get a crease here, you can just keep that tape torqued ever so slightly to get rid of that crease. Okay, and then you do that. Okay, so that's your figure of 6, and then just one more ankle lock. So we're going to start here. Okay, we're going to, instead of coming around the front of the foot, we're going to go around the back of the foot. That looks like went a little bit too high there. Okay, so I thought I was doing a figure of 6, I think. So I'm going to go behind. Okay, then we're going to go here. Okay, if that figure of 6 tape's there, I might want to just pop that there so it doesn't nip. And then we're going to come around the front, and we're just going to finish here for the heel lock. Okay, so the heel lock, I would say, is the most important thing. The figure of 6 definitely reinforces that ankle. But as I said, if you get the heel lock right, it's pretty important. So you can see here now with this white tape, it's actually probably better to show you with the white on. The tape, you can see it a little bit better. So it's skin color tape, so you can see that heel lock. It's pretty good there in terms of there's no creases or anything like that. So hopefully that won't irritate the athlete too much. And then I'll just usually do that and get everything kind of get the glue kind of sitting into the different angles. And that's pretty much how I tape ankles. As I said, it's nothing special. That's how I was shown, and it does the trick. It's nothing to get obsessed about. If you've done your job well with your clinical skills, the strapping, it should be just tick the box to give the athlete that last little bit of confidence.
If that person doesn't have an ability to direct the force well in any of the directions through the upper limb, then the big thing we're going to do with Elle is we're going to get her, every time she puts her hand down, she's absorbing force, then she's going to get a, now the second hop, that's where she really needs this. If I hold her there and just build tension, good, you can see she just gives way.
Never looked at breathing in my life before. Can't believe how important breathing is. Like, it's just probably a stupid thing to say, but yeah, definitely breathing.
So welcome to Build Your Business, the final segment in this season. Now, what I want to talk about this week is the big elephant in the room, okay? And that is how your clinical skills and your lack of confidence and clarity is actually impacting your business's potential for growth. So this week, what I want to talk about and ask you the question, are you actually treating your patients too long? Okay, so are your appointments 1 hour? Okay, are your appointments 45 minutes? And if you ask yourself, do you actually genuinely need to have that much time with a patient? Okay, sometimes I think you'll actually come to the realization that you don't need that much time. Okay, if you've got a very structured step-by-step system, you're using a constraint-based approach where every session you have your goal, okay, which is just hitting that goal. You give that patient a few days or a week to continue to get used to that loading. The next session you load them a bit more, and away you go, and you're always working towards that ideal outcome. You'll find that you don't need to waste time trying to treat everything. Okay, if you're trying to throw shit at the wall and hoping something sticks, you probably will need an hour. If you can have that structured system in place where you have the confidence and clarity to know what you want to be spending 80% of your time with, know what you want to spend 20% of your time with, then you can cut that time down quite a bit. Now, even 45-minute appointments can be quite problematic, okay? Because again, if you've got gaps between, you have 3 appointments on the hour and they're all 45-minute appointments, you've pretty much lost one session, okay? And if one session to you is worth 50 euros, dollars, pounds, whatever your currency is, that's going to add up over the year, okay? And you're ultimately leaking money, you're wasting time. If you get very slick, you get that clinical structure in place, you get the confidence, you understand what you're trying to do every session, you eliminate those hours to 45 to 30 minutes with the majority of your patients, then you're pretty much doubling your income for doing the same amount of work, okay? So I'll just repeat, if you're doing hour-long sessions and you get them down to 30 minutes eventually, that takes a little bit of time and with that has to come confidence and clarity and structure in your assessments and your treatment and your return to play, return to life rehab programs. You can pretty much earn double what you're earning for doing the same work. Okay, and that's why a lot of the therapist mentorship program, the vast majority about it is giving you that structure, that clinical excellence, okay, that we're all striving for, that structure, that clinical reasoning of every session, okay, to get them to the ideal outcome. That's the thing that allows you to be very clear, so you don't need an hour for every single session. Absolutely, some persistent pain cases, you may need to take a little bit more time with them. That's absolutely fine. But for the majority of patients, okay, we can get through in our clinic with 30 minutes if we've got the confidence and clarity. Is the quality of our sessions gone down because we're giving them 30 minutes instead of 60? Absolutely not. And anyone who says that, bullshit, okay? What we have done is we've made sure that in that session we are on top of our game. Because what happened to me was I knew I had 45 minutes with a patient, I knew it an hour. Next thing you're rubbing that quad or that calf for 15 minutes when you didn't need that. Whereas now what I need to do is I need to go and I need to desensitize that gastroc, that quad, whatever it is, and I'm very intentional with what I'm doing. So I'm putting myself under pressure, okay, to get what I need done in 30 minutes. It keeps me very focused, keeps my attention, and I'm good to go. And what myself and a lot of the other therapists in the clinic, the day goes a lot faster as well. And you just have a lot more intent with what you're doing, okay? Whereas a lot of therapists, they're trying to treat everything and hope for the best. If you can get that confidence and clarity and step-by-step system, then you can cut a lot of these sessions down to 30 minutes, okay? As I said, if your clientele has a lot more persistent pain, then that's fair enough, okay? But even with a lot of those, we can still, after the first session or two, we can still get them down to 30 minutes because every session we've got a plan where we've got progress and we're keep hitting those targets to make sure that we get that person the ideal outcome
that gives them the meaningful impact on their life that adds such value to them. Okay, so instead I've addressed the big elephant in the room today. Okay, is your clinical skills impacting your business? Are you wasting time and energy because you lack that confidence, clarity, and structure? If you want some more confidence, clarity, and structure, get in touch. The Therapist Mentorship Program is designed specifically to give you that, to rapidly increase your retention, your revenue, your referrals, okay? But it's all based on getting real world results with real people that you make a big impact on their lives.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Brain Booster segment, and delighted again to have Carl on for the penultimate episode of season 1. And Carl, you've been absolutely monumental in the Go To Physio show, making it such a success that it is, and the great feedback all around the world from therapists. And you've helped a lot of therapists already, and we're just starting to tip the iceberg, so to speak. So, Carl, one thing that happened to me with a particularly tricky case over the last couple of weeks was a patient who a couple of my therapists really struggled with initially, when the patient's son wanted the patient to come and see us. And we picked up quite strongly that patient didn't want to be here, and he was almost, just being here to appease his son, so to speak. And I know there's a lot of therapists that will resonate with that. So in that kind of situation, Carl, is there anything that we can do to kind of help us as therapists be a bit more successful with these patients?
It's a real interesting one, Dave, isn't it? And I think nothing's going to happen with any individual client if that client isn't engaged in the process, if they're doing it for somebody else, or they think that you as the therapist are going to wave the magic wand and everything's going to be wonderful without any effort at all. We've talked in the past, one of my beliefs is the value of questions. I heard years ago that the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your questions, and I didn't understand all those years ago how important it is, but I do now, because questions focus your attention. And as we know, attention's critical in any improvement scenario. So to me, one really effective question that you can ask a potentially difficult client like this is to just simply ask them, what's your role in this? And there might be a pregnant pause initially with that, but wait for the answer, because essentially that question, there's a big difference between telling somebody that you need to do this, 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 and this, and actually asking them that question. What's your role in this? And you then actually find out where they feel they are in this. But what it generally does with most people, it actually gets them to start to think, my goodness, this is a collaboration here. I need to take part in this myself. I need to do my bit. And actually once they verbalize what their role is, and it might be, I do need to do my exercises or whatever. I do need to do my rehab. When you've got them to state the answer to the question, they are then bought in. You haven't told them, they've said to you. They've created an ownership of that they perhaps didn't have before.
Carol, that's absolutely brilliant. And that question, I know since we came into that roadblock, and as always, any patients I'm struggling with, I always, you're the first person I'm going to pick the phone up to if I need any help. That one question, since we've started to put that into our subjective, it's just changed. A lot of people's thought process, even people that were coming out of their own will, and I know there's a lot of therapists who they have a frustration where patients come in and they just want to lie in the bed,
yes,
and get massage or whatever. Yeah. So I think a lot of these patients, they're going to be able to use that as well. So that's absolutely brilliant. And
that's a good example. Again, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right.
That's a good example of you as the therapist being the coach as well. By just asking one simple question like that, that's coaching. That's because you're asking the question with great intent, because unless they are involved in this, unless they realize their responsibility, you're both going to be frustrated. You're going to be frustrated that you're giving them good programs, but they're not engaged in it.
Absolutely, Carl. And to be honest, I think there is a lot of therapists that are frustrated at, probably our lack of skills in helping these patients. And the feedback that we've had about your work since I've brought you on. Sorry, we've got a fire alarm here. But the feedback I've had from therapists all over the world, it's been overwhelming. And I've had quite a few people asking, how can we find out more about you and your work? And that's why I'm really excited to announce, obviously, that myself and yourself, we're talking about potentially putting on a workshop as well for therapists to integrate the two and actually give the physios an actual ability to implement this stuff in the real world. And as I said, that question right there, it's a small little bit of what we've implemented in the academy with yourself, and we've had great success. And I'm really delighted to be looking at getting the date in the diary eventually in the next week or two about something that we can put on to help therapists in the real world.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, David. I'm excited about it, and people don't need to be alarmed about this. They need to be they need to be encouraged. And it's been great working with yourself and other physios, because I see the difference that this can make. It just adds something else to the business, and the results that we've been getting together have been phenomenal, really.
Absolutely. And it's increased our confidence even more, and especially, at times when hands-on treatment is not appropriate. I've had a lot of therapists in my mentorship kind of go, where to now if I can't use my hands? And there's one or two particular therapists in my mentorship that have, they've actually, put in our private group, this was the first time I've ever had, treated somebody without touching them, and the ability to do that. And they would have got a lot of your stuff in the subjective assessment anyways, from the mentorship, because you've been such a big influence on myself. But for us to actually spend 2 full days going through this and really nailing that subjective assessment, and then dealing with kind of any behaviour that patients are coming in with, in the follow-up sessions, and for us as therapists to have the tools for that, I think it's going to be really, really valuable. And so I'm excited to finalise this in the next few weeks with you and get it out there to help a lot of therapists.
Yeah, you're absolutely. I think sometimes we can touch people more with words than we can actually with physical action, can't we?
Absolutely, and I know there's a lot of therapists out there pushing for us as physios to go that way as well. So to be able to combine the two, use your hands when it's appropriate, but then also be that coach, that person, and build their confidence up, encourage them, and then have that appropriate stimulus and rehab. Then that to me is the full package as a physiotherapist. And I think that part that you can bring and really help us with that, I think it's going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah.